Hey, it's Phil. In the Systeme.io funnel tutorial, I'm going to show you how to create a lead generation funnel inside of Systeme.io from scratch. Now we're going to be building this exact funnel here. It will start with a landing page. I'll also teach you how I created this graphic with AI. Then we're going to be taking them to this thank you page here after they've opted in. Then we're going to connect that funnel with an automation to actually subscribe them to an email campaign, which we'll create from scratch. And then finally, we also have the email template here. And then we are going to test the entire process and it works perfectly. So by the end of this video, if you follow along, you're going to have a fully working lead generation funnel also inside of Systeme. And just before we get into it, if you haven't yet got Systeme.io, I've actually got a bonus I've called the Systeme Accelerator. This is going to give you full step-by-step tutorials as well as lots of templates. So if you want to get that for free, make sure you join Systeme using the link down in the description. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Now, the very first step before we can actually build our funnel is ensure we have a custom domain and custom email address integrated with Systeme. If you haven't yet done that, I've actually created a full step-by-step tutorial. It's very quick and easy to do, so make sure you follow this as the process can get a little bit confusing. I'll link to this video down below. Once you've done that step, we can move forward with actually building the funnel. So the first thing to do is inside of your Systeme dashboard, come to sites at the top, click on sales funnels. It's going to bring you into a page that looks like this. Go ahead at the top right and click create. Now go ahead and name what you want the funnel to be. So this is going to be for a lead magnet I'm giving away called the AI Playbook. All right. And what I recommend you do first off is actually choose the funnel you want to use. For this example, I'm going to leave it on the Systeme.io domain. And what we're going to do is come down, choose the type. I recommend we're going to use custom for this example, just because the pre-created templates are actually full of quite a bit of bloat. So it's much easier to start from scratch. So go ahead, click custom, and then click save. Now you will see that the funnel has now been added, and let's go ahead and click on it. And what we can do right now is come to the first step. So go down to add step, right? And then we're going to name this AI Playbook Optin, Optin being where they can put their information. Choose a step. We're going to scroll down to Optin, choose Optin page. And now what I recommend once again is choose start from scratch. This is by far, I believe, the easiest way to do it. Click on save. And now this is going to create this step. So we have the first step in place. Now, just to save some time later, I recommend in the URL path, once you have got your domain here, go ahead and type in the words of the lead magnet you're giving away. So I'm going to say AI Playbook, like so, right? And then click off it. You'll see a little green check. And now we're basically good to go. If someone went to this domain and URL, they would be able to see the page we're about to build. So let's go now to edit page and let's start building out this funnel. So the way we're going to build out this funnel is quite simple. We're going to first come down to column layout and we're going to get a 2-column. We're going to drop it in like so. And now we have got our simple 2-column. Now I recommend always having an image, a headline, and also some text as well as a button. So let's go and start adding those in. So the first thing I'm going to do is drop in a headline module to the left column. Next, I'm going to drop in a text right below it. So you can see the blue bar is just below the headline. Next, I'm going to come down, and what I'm going to do to save some time is actually drop in 2 form fields. So there is one, let's go drop one more, 2, and then what we're going to do is choose a button like so. Okay, and then on the right, we're going to scroll back up, choose an image and drop it in like so. So now we're looking like we have something on a page. Now at this point, you're probably looking at this font thinking, that font doesn't really look good to me. This is always my first thought. So come to settings at the top, right? And we have here default typography. Instead of changing all of the text modules and heading modules in your entire pages, always start off with the default typography. This is just going to save a lot of time. So for this example, I'm going to choose Google Fonts. I'm going to go and type in Poppins. I absolutely love Poppins. So this is what it now looks like. And if we scroll down a little bit further, you can see we've also got headline typography. What we can do here is once again, click on the same font as page Poppins, come down to Google Fonts, choose Poppins once again, but this time we can change the thickness, the boldness basically of it. So I like doing it at this level. It just makes it a little bit easier for me. Unlike just having bold and unbold, you can actually choose how thick you want it to be. So that's now looking pretty good. So what I recommend you do right now is actually hover over these boxes. You can see we have the row box, and there is this little tiny column here, and this is actually alignment. So what we're going to do is come down, choose the second one, and this is always going to make sure that both of our columns now are going to be centered, just going to make it look that little bit nicer. So what we want to do now is have a call to action, basically telling someone a result that they're going to get, an outcome they're going to get, if it's going to save them time, if it's going to give them something for free, if it's going to give them some sort of outcome. For this example, I'm going to put learn how to 10x your current results using AI. So while it is quite broad, it can also be a self-reflection for them so they can determine the worth of it. Now below that, we need to have a call to action. This is giving someone specific instructions and telling them what they're going to get in return. So I'm going to put enter your name and your best email address. Now I always put best email address just so people think about it and put their primary email. It surprisingly works. To get sent the AI playbook for free. Okay, so they know if they put in their name and email, they're going to get the AI playbook for free. Now below that, we have these two fields. This is where we're going to collect their name and also their email. So on the first field, click on this input type and come down to first name. And then below that, we have got email address. Of course, we're trying to grow our email list, so make sure you add that here. If you want, you can also change the placeholder to say email address. You could even put your email address. It's entirely up to you, right? So that's looking pretty good. Now, next below that, we also have the button. You can see it's currently got a heading and a subheading. So what I'm going to do is just scroll down here, and I don't generally have subtext, so I'm just going to remove it. And what I'm going to say inside of the typography, the button text is write yes, send it to me, okay? Now for the width, what I'm going to do is just come to button width once again at the top, click full width, and now we have got a pretty big looking page. Now on the right here is where the image is. Now to show you what I'm currently going to use for this particular lead generation page, and what I did was I just came to ChatGPT. I literally just said I'm going to create a lead gen funnel called the AI Playbook. Can you help me design a cover for the AI Playbook? And it gave me this really good looking graphic. So I went ahead and downloaded that graphic, came to Canva, went to more apps, down to mockups, chose a book, and basically just dropped the image on there. Went ahead, saved the mockup, and just downloaded it. And that's the exact one that I'm going to be using. So what I'm going to do is come back to my editor once again, click on this button, and I'm going to click on this little cloud. And I've actually just uploaded it. So I'll just go ahead and select it here, click on insert, and boom, there is the AI playbook. Now you can see it is extremely big. So what we want to do first of all is change the size. So on the left here, you can see we've got image size. I'm going to just change that first of all to half, so 300. So that's a little bit smaller. It's actually looking pretty good. Now you can see the width of this page is not really spaced that well. What I'm going to first do is just come to the middle, just drag it across a little bit like so. Then I'm going to click on this background green section, okay? And what I'm going to do is scroll down to content width, and I'm going to select medium, right? So now this is looking a little bit nicer, not so spread out and wide. So now it's time to actually change all the sizing to make everything look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to click back on the section. The first thing I'm going to do is add 100 to the padding on the top. And what I'm actually going to do is split out the padding, and in the bottom, I'm going to put 180, maybe even 200 actually. And what this is going to do is just fill out the page a little bit more instead of being bunched up at the top. Now let's go back to the heading. Let's go and change the height. I'm just going to keep increasing it until it looks pretty good inside of a single line. So I think 38 is looking pretty nice, but it's a little bit narrow in terms of line height. So I'll just come to line height and maybe go to 42. So that's looking pretty good right there. And as for the text below, it looks pretty good. I'm going to just increase the font size a little bit. So maybe 18. Once again, the line height, just a couple of clicks. So that's looking pretty good. And we have now the fields. So what I'm going to do is actually make them a little bit less wide and also change the height. So let's click on the first one. If we come down here, you can see the font size. I believe that's probably a little bit big, so I'm going to change that to 16. And if I scroll down, you can see we've got now our spacing. I'm going to change that 25 margin to 15 just to decrease the gap a bit. And on the sides, I'm actually going to turn it into 30 each side. So you can see now it's a little bit past the text. It just makes it look that little bit nicer. So let's repeat the steps now for the email column. Okay, so down in font size, once again, take it down to 16. Scroll down. For margin, we're going to change it to 15. And on the sides, we're going to add 30, like so. All right, and then we've just finally got the button. Same thing again. So click on the button, scroll down. We have margin. I'm going to change that to 15, sorry, and I'm going to add 30 margin on each side. Right, so that's actually looking pretty good. Now, if I want to increase conversions that little bit more, what I'm actually going to do is also just put, I guess, like a little teaser at the top. So I'm going to come and grab this text block. I'm going to drop it above the headline. And what I'm going to do inside of here with capital letters is just type in free download. I'm going to triple click to highlight it all. Click bold to make it bold. Click on this color changer. Right, I'm going to go to like a nice looking kind of blue. Try to keep it quite similar to the button. Right, so that's looking pretty good. And now we've got a nice looking layout. So I believe I could probably also increase that headline just a little bit more, just to really make it pop. So we got here 42, maybe 40 is good. And I'll just increase it to 44. So that's looking really nice. Let's now reduce the margin on the title. Okay, so we'll bring it down to 10. I may even split it and bring down the top of it. Right, that's looking pretty good. And I think we're almost there. So we've now got this really cool looking landing page. Someone can come in, read what they're going to get, and type in their name and email to get sent it. Very cool. Now, for any single page that you send people to, especially if you're getting their name and email, you have to include a privacy policy. So assuming you've already got a privacy policy, what we really need to do now is create a footer, put your brand there, and then link to the privacy policy. To do that, we can just get a new section, right? We'll drag that and drop it down into the bottom of the page. And what we're going to do, scroll to the top, just get a text block one more time, okay, and drop it in here. And now we have our text. So I'm just going to put inside of here, philwilson.co, and I'll just say all rights reserved, right? I'm going to do a space and then click shift pipe, that little button below backspace. And I'm going to put privacy policy, one more pipe, and I'm just going to put terms and conditions, as I always like to have that there. Now, generally speaking, you can either leave it with the white background or you can change it to a darker one. It's entirely up to you. What I'm going to do is actually change the color. So I'm going to click on section. I'm going to go to background color. I'm going to make this nice and dark, so almost a black. But now we can't actually see our text. So we're going to triple click on the text. Click on this little color selector and we're going to make it white. Okay, you could even make it not perfectly white, somewhere around there, as you don't want it to be the one thing that they look at. So that's looking pretty good. Now the footer is pretty big. So once again, I'm going to click on the green section. I'm just going to change this padding to 0. So that's a little bit short. Let's change it to maybe 10. All right, now we're looking like we're pretty good. So this is basically what the page is now going to look like. If you click on save really quickly and click on this play button, it's going to show us what the page looks like so far. Okay, so you can have a first audit of it. I think the headline, everything's looking really good. Maybe the footer text is a little bit big. So let's go back to the editor now. Let's triple click on it. And on the left, we've got font size. Let's drop it down to around 14. So it's still there, you can still see, but it's just not the main thing to look at. Now, once we've done that, let's go ahead and add some links. So what I'm going to do is, I'm not sure why this is all hyperlinked already, but I'm going to select terms and conditions. Okay, click on this little link button, which is going to bring up this pop-up. Now I'm going to type in here my address. If it's already on the domain where your funnel is going to be hosted, you can actually just put / and put terms and conditions. Okay, I'm actually just going to put out the entire thing for my personal website. So we've got terms and conditions here, and I'm going to click open link in new tab and click confirm. Okay, so let's now go to privacy policy. Let's click on this link. And now let's type in once again our /privacy policy. Okay, and I always open it in a new tab. The reason I do that is if someone clicks on the link, then they may not know how to get back to this page. So it's much easier just to open a new page for them. Click on confirm, right? And now we're looking pretty good. Now, just before we think this is finished, what we now need to do is come to the top and click on this little phone icon. This is going to show you what it looks like on mobile, and you can see things are not quite perfect. So let's quickly optimize it. What I'm going to do to make things look good to start with is click on the button. This is the biggest eyesore for me right now. Under padding, what I'm going to do is keep increasing the padding until it matches the rest of the forms. So that's about the same size. What I'm also going to do is increase the margin so it has a decent amount of spacing between each form field. So if you're happy with that, you can leave it. It looks pretty good. Now this book is extremely big, so I'm going to click on the book now, change the size to maybe about half, 150. So that's looking pretty good. You have to remember they're going to be looking at it on their phone, so you don't want to take up the entire page. So I could even increase it to maybe 200. That's looking pretty good. But the biggest thing here is it's very close to the entire form. So what I'm going to do is come down to margin, and I'm going to increase this to, let's just say, about 20, so it actually gives it some room to breathe. So now let's edit the size of everything. If you click on the headline, I believe this needs a bit of padding top and bottom as it feels very bunched. I'm also going to increase the size to about 26 so it fills up the width. And then the text below it, I'm just going to decrease a bit as it feels quite overpowering. So I'll take it down to maybe 16. I believe that looks pretty good. And also, if I come to the form fields, I'm going to take these down to 14 on both of them, just because once again, they feel very big. Okay, so now that's looking pretty good. And at the top here, if we hover and you can see the green section, it's still extremely bunched at the top. So what I'm going to do at padding is just increase it to bring it down a little bit. So to around 15 is looking pretty good. Now, if you looked at this on your phone, you would know exactly what it is. Everything's spaced out quite nicely. The last thing I would generally do is at the bottom here below the image, I would once again look for the green section heading like this one here. And what I generally want to do is make a bit of a gap at the bottom, a bit bigger than 15. So what I'm going to do is just quickly go ahead and make that 80. Now you might be thinking, why 80? If I scroll down, it just gives it a bit of breathing room down the bottom away from the footer. So this is looking pretty good. I would say the button is probably still a little bit big. So what I'm going to do is decrease that down to maybe 16. Okay, so it's looking really nice. And down at the bottom, the final thing is the footer. It looks very bunched up, much too big for the section. So I'll change the font size here to 12 and give it just a little bit more line height. And there we go. It's looking very slick. That's a pretty cool looking mobile page. So what we want to do now is click save, and now is where the magic comes in. We have our landing page in place. Next, we're going to create the thank you page. However, there is one step we want to do. So let's go ahead on the section one last time, click on it, the background, and you will see the section tab appear. What we can do is at the top here, click on save. Now what I'm going to name this is AIP Optin, so AI Playbook Optin. And this is going to save all of these settings we've just been playing around with for so long. And we're going to transfer it now to our follow-up page, our thank you page, and we don't have to adjust these settings as much. So go click on create. That's going to now save that entire page. We just have to now do the same thing for the footer because we don't want to play around with the settings once again. There's also another way you can save it by hovering over the section. You can also see the little disk. So I'm just going to put AIP footer. Now, if you want to have a pro move right now, we've got this thing called a master block. What that basically means is everywhere I put this master block, if I update it anywhere, it's going to update all of the pages. So this is perfect for footers because you don't have to constantly update if something changed, like your page URL, or if you needed to add a new page, you can just change it on one page and it changes everything. So make sure you don't do it for the first part, just the footer. So click create and boom, that is now been created. Let's go ahead and click on exit page. So it has not been saved. Save now, yes. Okay, perfect. Now let's go to the next step. So what we want to do now is not duplicate this page because we want to have an opt-in thank you. So at the bottom, click on add step. We're going to choose this AI playbook. Thank you. Okay. And for type, we want to click on the drop down and look for opt-in thank you page. Once again, click start from scratch, click on save. Okay. And now the step has been created. What I'm going to do is put AI playbook success. Okay. Really easy to remember. Now click on edit page like so. Okay. And once again, we've done all the hard work already. Click on blocks. Okay. And we can first of all choose our my blocks. We'll click AI opt-in. You can see I've already tested this. And boom, we have our content. And then we're going to come back to blocks, choose my master blocks. This time choose AIP footer. And now that's been added. Now you might be wondering, hey, what's going on with the fonts? Once again, you have to set it. So settings, right? Default font, Google Fonts. We're going to choose pop-ins, right? And down the bottom, font type, Google Fonts once again. And this time I'm going to change it to semi-bold 600. So boom, now it looks exactly like our previous page. But what we want to do now, we've already collected their email. What we want to do is basically let them know that we've sent them the email and to check their email inbox. Now, some people like to deliver the resource right on the next page. The only problem with this, people put in fake emails, so you're not actually collecting their information. So I prefer to actually send them an email. If they want to check it, they should go ahead and check their email. So what we're going to do at the bottom here is we're going to choose, in the middle here, we're going to choose row. Okay, and this time we're going to drop it at the very top. And we're going to now move. So just click and hold this to the very top of that section. Same thing again with the headline, drop it just down below it. And then we're going to drop this time the image in just below that. Then the text below that one more time. And then we can actually just get rid of this info. So now what we want to do is just rewrite the info here, change the spacing a little bit, and we'll basically be done. So at the top, I'm going to replace free download with success. Okay, so someone knows that it's actually been sent. Below that, inside of the heading text, I'm going to write your copy of the AI playbook has successfully been sent to your inbox. Okay, and we've got a bit of spacing issues here, but we will fix that in just a moment. We have the image, and at the bottom, I'm just going to give them clear instructions where they can actually find the email. So check your email inbox to get your download link. If it doesn't arrive, check your junk folder, as sometimes emails can get lost. Okay, perfect. So what I'm going to do to start with is come to the section at the top. So click on the area, should be green, it's randomly not this time. And I'm going to go content width. This time I'm going to make it small. Okay, and it's going to make it quite a bit smaller just to make it look a little bit nicer. Next, I'm going to click on this text, and I'm just going to reduce the font size a bit so it fits nicely on 2 lines. Now I'm going to come to the image. You can see the image is quite close to both of these text. So I'm going to come down to margin and increase it to around 15. In fact, I may even go 20 just to give it a bit of breathing room. So that's looking really nice. And what I might do is just increase this text at the bottom a little bit and give it just a little bit more of line height. So boom, this actually looks really good. Now, to say with thank you pages, we've got quite a bit of gap at the top now because the last one was using 2 columns. Now we've got a single column. So click on this section one more time and let's reduce the top. So let's maybe try 100, still too big. Let's even try 50, even go a little bit more, 30. Okay, now we're looking really nice. And this is basically it. You are now done. So once again, check mobile, make sure everything looks good. So success, that's fine. I may reduce the text a bit because 4 lines, I believe, is too much text. If it's 3, it's pretty good. So that looks good. The image looks good. The text looks good. I believe we're done. So let's go ahead, click on save, and we have created our lead gen funnel. Now you can go ahead once again and click the preview button, see what it looks like. Looks really nice and fresh. Okay, so the next step, now we have actually created our funnel, is to create an automated email campaign. So what we want to do now is at the very top, come to emails, come to campaigns. All right, and then we want to click on create. Now what I'm going to do is name this AI playbook, okay, email series. It says sender email address. I'm going to just quickly choose my primary one. All right, so I've got hello at funnel scene here, and you can add a description if you want, maybe talk about the types of emails. I'll just leave it blank for this example. Click on save, okay, and now click on our new campaign. Now to create an email campaign is extremely easy. First of all, I usually create the first email and then just duplicate it once again to keep all of the font sizing. So let's create the first email. So come to create at the top, okay, put a subject here. We can change this later, so don't worry too much. I generally say your AI playbook has now arrived, okay? And what I'm going to do is once again just choose the simplest version. So I'm going to choose Classic Editor. Click on save. And the reason I'm choosing Classic Editor is when the email platforms see an email coming in, if it's got a lot of code behind it, it can get quite overwhelming, lots of technicalities. If it's just basic text, then it's probably going to be fine. So over here, we once again have got our subject. We've got this preview line here if you want to have something really particular. If not, it's just going to take the first lines from the body. So what I'm going to do is say, hey, and then on the right, we have this available personalization substitutes, personalization. Click on that, and now you can see we've got these custom texts, right? So if you copy and paste it, it's going to add the red text in here. So let's go ahead and manually type it out. So let's use that brackety looking icon next to P, and then go first underscore name, and then put the closing bracket. Now what this is going to do is if, let's just say Jill opted into my landing page, it's going to say, hey Jill. So it's pretty cool. And the cool thing about this too is you can actually put it inside of your subject. So I'll just say, hey Jill, your AI playbook has now arrived, all right? And I'll just put a little exclamation. So, hey Jill, actually I'll pause the video so you don't have to wait around while I write this out. Okay, so here is the email. You can see I said, hey, I see you're interested with the AI. It's insane to see what people are doing with it. Honestly, sometimes it feels like I get left behind. But now then I realize I'm actually on track. Currently, I'm using AI to 10x my output as a content creator, but you can usually, you see what I'm doing inside of here. You can see the whole text. So now that we have this, let's actually go and customize it. So the first thing I always do is change the text. So we have here default. I'm going to go ahead, choose Verdana. I just believe it looks a little bit more like handwriting, very easy to read on the eyes. Next is the font size. I always generally put about 16, just because some people struggle reading text on their phone, so you want to make it as easy as possible. And inside here, you can also change things like colors. You can also add in links and bits and pieces. If you want to immediately attach your download to the actual email itself, you can click on this button and immediately select a file here like so, right? And let's just say that was the file. And this is going to appear as an attachment inside of the email. The only issue with this is if you use that route, it's actually potentially going to make the email heavier, which means more data, more slower to actually load. So what I recommend you do instead is choose a piece of text showing them where or what the actual thing they're getting is. So I say in this AI playbook, and then I can go ahead, add a link, and then I can just actually put where this link is. For example, I put it in Google Drive, and then they can go download it from there. So I'll just put my website in for an example for this one, and just click check, just so you can see how it works. I'm going to highlight the text. I'm going to make it bold, just to give it a bit of pop. And now we're looking pretty good. So what you can do is go ahead, click save draft. And now you can actually send yourself a test email by going save and test. I'm just going to skip a step and go save and publish. I want to test this thing out live. So once you actually hit publish, it's going to say activate. When do you want this to be sent? Do you want it to be sent after a particular email? Because it's the first email in the campaign, we don't have to do anything. Do you want to wait before this email sends as well? If you want it to send out after maybe 2 days, it could be you just want a follow-up email, whatever it might be. Generally speaking, it's going to just be this exact layout. Just go ahead, click activate, right? And then click on exit, and boom, we've got the green check. This basically means we're now good to go. So what we need to do now is actually link our funnel to this email campaign. And then once that's done, we can go ahead and test our brand new lead gen funnel. So let's go to sites. Let's go to sales funnels. Then go ahead and choose your funnel you've just created and make sure we are in the first step here. Once we are, come to automation rules, click add rule. And then what we want to do is first choose a trigger and just click the little plus here and it will choose either funnel step form subscribed or page visited. We're going to choose the funnel step form subscribed. It's automatically going to fulfill, which is great. Then under actions, click the little plus, choose subscribe to a campaign. And then we want to go ahead and actually choose our campaign that we've just created, this one here. And we just want to click the action one more time, this little plus. And I always recommend adding a tag just so you know where people have come from. So now I'm just going to type in here playbook, and I've already created this tag. If you haven't, you can actually just create one on the fly, as you can see here. Well, let's choose this one, click save rule, okay, and boom, we are ready to test. So let's come back to configuration. Let's click view funnel step and let's actually test this out and see how it works. So put in a name. I'll just put in here Phil, hello@philwilson.co. Click yes, send it to me. And now you see the thank you page. Now, if it's your first time using your Systeme.io account, they actually manually check that the emails being sent aren't spam. What's happened is it's a free platform to use. People are going in there and just blasting spam emails all across the internet. So the system team have to manually come in and check the emails. Once a few emails have been sent, it's just going to run smooth like butter. So I'm going to pause the video and see how long it takes to actually come. Okay, so it only took about 10 seconds to arrive. Here is the email, exactly how I wrote it. It's looking really fresh. If I click on the button, it's going to take me to the link that I've linked to. So everything has worked absolutely perfectly. We've created a lead generation form. We've also created the thank you page. So the whole entire lead generation funnel is done. We've created an email campaign, which we can now add to, and we've now bridged them with automation. So there it is, the full Systeme.io tutorial on how to create a lead generation funnel. If you want to get this template for free, I'll leave a link down in the descriptions. But that's it. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll see you on the next video.